I don't know how many of you have read the book The Shack, or seen the movie The Shack. I had read the book years and years ago, and then watched it on HBO last week. And in it, if you don't know, a gentleman has lost his daughter who was murdered, and he is so depressed, and the whole family is falling apart, and he can't deal with it. And this is his story. Mac takes a trip back to find out where his daughter has been murdered, and when he arrives, he meets God. And God is played by Olivia Spencer.
Octavia.
Not Olivia, Octavia Spencer. So and they call her Papa. And Octavia Spencer is this most amazing woman. And as she's there to help him, this young man comes in who is Middle Eastern, and he is Jesus. And this beautiful Asian lady is Spirit. And these three help him through all of this. But one of the things I thought was so beautiful is that when Octavia said to him, when he asked, why is God a woman? And she said, well, I could have been a man. I could have been anything, because we are. But I felt you needed a mother right now. And I thought, what a wonderful way of looking at the Creator as that all-in-one that could be male, female, any gender, and yet is our parent. Isn't that wonderful to realize we all have the same parent? And when you think of that, you know, as a spiritualist minister, I really believe there is one truth, and that one truth is that we are all wonderful children of God. And you know, that one truth is equally valid no matter what faith you have. There are so many different faiths. We did a wonderful ceremony here of having people write down all the faiths that they have been in before they found CCL. We had 68 different little pieces of paper. And there were so many different faiths. And I realized that that pathway of getting to where you feel comfortable quite often takes many different stops along the way. Some of us were born in very strict religions and rebelled. Some went back after they rebelled. Some were born in I met a man at my house, Thanksgiving, who had been born into a cult. And he was forcibly removed from the cult and given to other foster parents that adopted him. And I realized I don't need to know anything more about that story, because it was obviously not one he really wanted to share. He just kind of dropped it like, you think you've had a rough time, you know. But it was, wow, how God stepped in and said, this child needs something different than where he is. And you know, when you see that, with all the different genders and all the different races and all the different things that are going on, quite often God steps in and says, hey, child, I think you better either quit doing all the drinking or quit doing all the smoking or using or quit doing some things, because as a parent, I think you're going to get yourself into some trouble. And that hey from God can be ending up in the drunk tank. It could be ending up flat on your stomach in a room somewhere. That wake up can come in so many different ways, just like your parent. Have you ever, as you were growing up, thought you were really getting away with something? Yeah. And then mother or dad says, huh? I love the commercial of the two little kids that are smuggling the cat into the house. How many of you have seen that? With some, litter campaign here. But anyway, and the mother just winks like, I told that kitten was in here all the time, And that's what a parent is like. You know when your kids are doing something. And you either accept them for who they are, or you make them wrong. And sometimes it's a combination of both. And that's the way I feel that our Mother, Father, God is. Very acceptant of who we are. And sometimes steps in to just kind of nudge us to do something different. Or sometimes says, well, that's your choice for this lifetime. Have you ever met people and you wonder, why are they doing that? And then you finally get to that point of saying, I don't have to know why, I don't have to judge, I just accept. And that's when your spirituality really starts moving. That being able to accept, just like a parent, each one of us can do that. With all of the, as I was talking about, with all these people I had at my dining room table for Thanksgiving. And somebody said, are we making too much noise? I said, you're making just the right amount of noise. Because we as parents need to say, it's fine to be joyous. It's fine to be doing these things. And not constantly saying no. Because God very seldom says no. When our Mother God says no, we know it. It's just a whoop. Yeah. And it's one of those things, it's how you react to that. Do you say, well, you can't tell me what to do, God?
Well, you can try.
Yeah. I'm going to have another drink, you can't tell me what to do. And that last drink seems to be the one that they stop you for on the freeway.
Then it's like whack whack.
And so when you think about that, of having this family of people, you know, when I read about the Muslims who had been killed, the 200 men and women and children, my heart went, those are my people. And somebody said, well, they're way over there. No, they're right here. And so many of you are feeling it when our children and our parents and our brothers and sisters are going through a difficult time. You feel it right here. And at that point, what Dr. Eileen and our wonderful Reverend Chris were talking about is, don't let that keep you from moving forward. Because as spiritualists, you're going to feel the pathways of everybody around you. And sometimes people in a different country. Because you are connected, because they are children of the same parent. You know, and I was thinking of being parts of the family, and I have a spirit guide named Mom. And I said, Mom, where do we go when we leave here? He said, well, you all go the same place. I said, okay, what's it called? He said, you can call it heaven. You can call it nirvana. You can call it paradise. You can call it Valhalla. Or you can call it there. He said, we don't care what you call it. Because when you get there, you're going to be amazed. Everybody else is there too. The people you might not have liked to live next door with the barking dogs, they're going to be there.
So you can call it hell.
Their dogs aren't going to be with them right then anyway. They've probably gone beforehand. Because it isn't divided up into Hindu, Christian, Jewish. You know, even though you might have thought that when you were going to some churches where they told you were the only ones that were going to get there. And I often thought, what happens to kids who have two different parents? One's Jewish and one's Catholic. What happens to them? And I realized after talking to my spirit guide that we're united regardless of who we are on earth. Where we are united. So I see this as this big playground of spirits having this marvelous time. And I also saw in my mind's eye when Mom was talking that none of us had a color or a gender. Yeah. We're forms of pure love, pure energy. And I thought, that's great.
No, it drops in the ocean.
And many different religions express it differently. They express so many things differently. We're coming into a month of holidays of everybody. One of the things we do is we ask people to help us with a Hanukkah altar. We ask people to help us with a Yule altar. We have people help us with a Kwanzaa altar. And we have people help us decorate the holiday tree. And our holiday tree is the most unique tree I've ever seen, because at one time, about 10 years ago, we had a couple little boys attending church that realized that they could make goddesses to hang on the tree. Those goddesses are the biggest busted women you've ever seen hanging on our holiday tree. They had so much fun. We have Stars of David made out of blue feathers that are hanging on the tree. We have animals from all over the world hanging on our holiday tree. and we're going to be decorating it on the 9th. So please come and help us because it's really fun. Clyde usually gets in charge of setting up the tree and grabbing some other couple of people's to help, and then we have the lights and we have all that. But the different altars are really interesting. We have one altar that has native little niches. What's the word for?
Figurines?
No. Anyway.
Nativity.
No, little nativity scenes. Yeah, but anyway, we have people from North America in Alaska. We have people of all different faiths in their traditional garb.
So we have the igloo, and
then we have a teepee.
teepee, and then we have the stable,
The standard Christian, yeah. So it's very interesting. So just to let you know that here, when we talk about everybody being equal, we try to help people understand that whatever faith they were raised in, whatever religion, is going to be the same. Christians do a lot of song and prayer, but also so do Hindus, so do Muslims, so do every faith. We have prayer. Our wonderful Sean works with prayer with Native American prayer. And they have the most wonderful stories of Father Sky, Mother Earth, and Grandfather, what is Grandfather
Fire.
called? What?
Grandfather.
Grandfather of Fire. Yeah, all of these wonderful attributes of these various beings that we see completely differently here. And it's so nice to understand. For me, the way you understand people and their faith is by getting to know them. And ask them, what do you believe in? What do you do? I found that food seems to really be a great part of every faith. Yeah, I mean, however it is, whatever your religion is, there's some food that stands out in what they do. And I'm just really interested in trying some of all of it, you know. I can't imagine that there isn't something that isn't absolutely wonderful in each religion and each sect. What about dance and music? Isn't that a big part of every faith? Whatever they're doing it to music and ritual. And that is some of the most amazing thing. And that's where, when you can dance with somebody, you can dance in a circle, or you can dance holding hands, or however, you become aware that some people aren't any more musical than you are. Maybe their musicality isn't the greatest thing about them, but you can share in that, and you can giggle, and you can laugh, and you can run and play and have a good time. You know, Catholics, one of my first religions was Catholicism. And they fast on Lent and on Good Friday. Jews fast on Yom Kippur. We have the Muslims fast from sunrise to sunset during Ramadan. We have so many different religions. At one time my folks were Baha'is, and we have fasting in tertiary. It's not in tertiary, but it's close days. There's so many other things, and whether you're using wine or grape juice or whatever, as part of your religious experience, it all just gathers us together. So think about that, and try very hard not to do racist slurs, or what I might call religious slurs. You know? Thank goodness they're disappearing. My son was saying somebody had called somebody, I think it was something like a kike. And Bob says, what does that mean? I said, I'm so glad you don't know. I'm so glad you don't know a lot of the religious slurs that were going around during my time. And they're fading away.
Yeah.
And we're helping them fade away by not using them anymore. You know, it's not that over there. There's somebody I know, and his name is Joe. It's so much easier. And now, when I'm talking about the wonderful part of food, I'm going back to food again. It's, how many of you did a prayer before Thanksgiving meal? Yeah. There is, and that's the wonderful thing about Thanksgiving. It seems to include everybody. It's one of the most inclusive holidays we have in the United States. Think about that. there were 29 million turkeys purchased over the last few days. So when you do a prayer around your table, or you could do a prayer, you know, like they did here in church. I don't care if you're in McDonald's, you know, whatever. You're saying a prayer to Creator. Thank you so much for the food. And everybody else is. Everybody else around here. One of the ladies that was sitting at our table Thanksgiving evening was from Peru. And my son said, "What is it that irritates the heck out of people in the United States?" And she said, "Calling themselves Americans." Isn't that it? How many times have you said, "I'm an American"? No, you're in Northern America. You're a member of the United States. You mean, if you say, "Well, I'm a Northern American," what's it do to Canada? Don't they have a right to say something? And so I hadn't thought of that until she started talking about the differences here and the way they treat themselves as they are the only country that can be called America. Yeah, yes, David.
What you just said, I learned that growing up on a military base and living in different countries.
Mm-hmm.
And they would say, "Are you from the United States?" Yeah, I'm from the United States. Is that North America? Or I say, "That's North America. It's part of North America, part of the biggest country there, but Canada's not that small."
Yeah.
And they go, "Oh." I say, "Neither is Mexico."
Right.
And they go, "Oh, they're big too." I said, "Yeah, the United States just has a bigger mouth, that's all."
I think you're right, David. The United States has the biggest mouth.
Yeah, we do. And
They make the most garbage.
Yeah, yeah. We eat the most and make the most garbage.
yeah, that's true too.
Yeah, yeah.
But just growing up like that, and then I grew up in a household that my father was Southern Baptist, my mother was Buddhist.
Wow.
So, wow, what different that was.